My dad was incredible, had incredible values. Self-made, hard-working. You know, if I turned up late, where's your note, you're late? From his work ethics and his principles, that became the ethos of our business. You know, I think they installed some very good values, and I hope I've installed that in my boys and into our team. And I know we've got a good business, and I think it comes from that beginning.
My grandfather, who served for New Zealand in the Second World War, came back. He was an A-grade mechanic, so set up a wee mechanic shop there in the main street of Morrinsville. It was actually my grandmother who was, funnily enough, peeling the potatoes for the evening meal, and the potatoes allegedly fell on an advert, someone advertising to sell tractors in the Morrinsville region, and my nana wrote off and applied for the Ferguson franchise for the Morrinsville area. Guy turned up, I guess, to interview Pop, see if he was going to be the right man for the job. Unbeknownst to him, he told the guy to sort of leave, and he'd got the wrong person, and told my grandmother about it that night, and she said, "Oh, you silly bugger, I applied for it, you need to get in touch with this guy," and that's really how we got underway in tractors.
First job really at Maber Motors was coming in after school and sweeping the floor. That was from like 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock every afternoon, from probably the period of probably August through until about December, starting in 1972. Laurie was hell for leather. It was get it done now, or get it done yesterday preferably.
Had principles like do it now, don't talk about it. Let's make things happen. Those kind of principles I still believe are very strong within the group.
But he was extremely passionate about customers and making sure that everything that we did was customer focused on service. And I think it's really one of the greatest assets and attributes to power farming. Everyone knew that machine would break down, but it was how you dealt with it and got it fixed promptly.
Always at work at 7 o'clock, getting home late. No time for small talk, we've got business to run. And look after customers. If there's ever a problem, just fix it and worry about who's going to pay for it afterwards.
The one thing I always remember, he told me when I was in the workshop, he said, never ask one of your staff to do something you wouldn't go and do yourself. So I always put that in place. You know, if I have to go and wash a tractor or sweep the floor or whatever in my workshop, I'll go and do it. Just because I'm the boss doesn't mean I can't do that sort of stuff still.
You know, we got to experience being on the land a little bit with him, and then, you know, when we'd go into the dealerships, we'd always be given odd jobs and you know, holidays or after school or whatever it might be. You know, anything from weeding the back fence to painting buildings to working in the parks.
I know that talking to Pop in the past, a few funny stories about people literally trading in horses and him having to go down to, I guess, a stock agent or a horse agent to get rid of the trades as such.
Guys came in and said, would you trade some horses? And my dad said, you'd have a go at anything. So he traded some horses and had to take them to the sale yards to sell them. But on the way back, one of the farmers, my dad said, you need instructions how to drive a tractor. And he said, no, I don't need any instructions. Well, the guy came back wet through. About half an hour later, he'd come to one of the bridges and he yelled at the tractor to stop, like he used to talk to his horses. And the tractor drove straight through, and of course there was a car coming on a one-way bridge, so he went through the river. And he said, at least when I talked to my horses, they stopped, but the tractor didn't.
Laurie was a gentleman. He come round, he knew your name, and he spoke to you.
He was a very much matter-of-fact person. He didn't stand fools. I remember he'd come over to Morrinsville, he was walking past all the company cars, and if he found anyone's car that had the keys in it, he took the keys out of their ignition. When they went to go to their car at night, where are my keys? And they were told, you'll need to go and see Laurie.
Laurie used to hold a sales meeting every Monday morning, and my vivid memory of that, him going through all of the sales guys at retail, and they'd have their leads on a big whiteboard, and they'd go through the ones that were lost, the ones they got, the new ones, and that was a very meticulous thing every Monday morning.
I mean, he was a great inspiration for myself, without any question, and we work really well as a team. He was more pessimistic and I was more optimistic, but you need opposites. He was probably a great mentor, and my dad threw me in the deep end as a young guy at 21 and said, you need to manage a retail branch with 4 or 5 much older sales team. You either swim or you drown, and thank goodness I swam. Lived till only a few years ago. Great privilege for me to go back and tell him what we had done and what we achieved, and he was so pleased. And he was so pleased to see Craig and Brett, my boys, come through and seeing them develop. Miss him. He'd be so proud of where we are today, and I think, you know, where we're going.